Technology chiefs are warning there's a risk humans could become extinct from artificial intelligence. The San Francisco-based non-profit Centre for AI Safety has concluded AI should be treated as a global priority on par with pandemics and the threat of nuclear war. More than 350 experts, professors and top executives in the field have come out publicly with their concerns, including Geoffrey Hinton, who's considered a godfather of AI. Sam Altman, the chief of OpenAI, which created ChatGPT, is also on the list. He recently addressed US Congress about artificial intelligence.
If this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong, and we want to be vocal about that. We want to work with the government to prevent that from happening.
This year, the chatbot ChatGPT has become the fastest growing app of all time. Major players, including Microsoft and Google, are also launching their own services. But the rapid rise of the technology and its capabilities recently prompted AI pioneer Geoffrey Hinton to quit Google after a decade at the company.
A couple of months ago, I suddenly realised that maybe the computer models we have now are actually better than the brain. And if that's the case, then maybe quite soon they'll be better than us. So that the idea of superintelligence, instead of being something in the distant future, might come much sooner than I expected.
It's feared AI systems could be manipulated to spread misinformation, prompting calls for greater regulation to prevent human harm. A recent poll in the US found 2/3 of respondents are concerned about the negative effects of AI, while 60% believe it could threaten civilization.
It's still new, and I think it's coming at a very rapid pace, and we're just trying to get wrap our minds around it.
It's useful in some senses, but the negative effects are definitely outweigh the positives, I think.
Terminator and all those movies have really given us a good fear of artificial intelligence, and I think we got a long ways to go before we get there, and I think that there's a lot of unknowns.
Dan Hendricks is director of the Centre for AI Safety, the organisation behind the letter. He joins me now from San Francisco. Dan Hendricks, thank you for your time. So your centre, along with other experts in the field, have warned AI could lead to the extinction of humanity. How so?
Well, there's a variety of ways this could happen. One of the most generic ways it could lead to extinction is just if the AI technology gets more powerful and people use it for malicious purposes. They could develop a bioweapon, and that could create a pandemic that could wipe us out. Or people could deliberately create a rogue AI system. Somebody tried doing that already, but fortunately, the AI technologies aren't powerful enough to cause that level of damage. In the future, though, they couldn't. So that's a fairly generic type of concern. There are other concerns that people have, such as them acquiring their own goals, or us automating more and more of the economy, and then us losing control of that of the technologies that we created. There's a wide variety of ways that this could spell extinction or cause society to be destroyed.
Yeah, the NYU professor Jan LeCun, who is also a leader in the field, says these apocalyptic warnings are overblown. He tweeted, "The most common reaction by AI researchers to these prophecies of doom is face palming." How do you respond to that?
So Jan LeCun is an employee of Meta, or formerly Facebook. They're one of the very few companies that didn't sign this. So other companies are recognizing that this is a large responsibility and it needs to be a global priority. Jan LeCun was also one of the 3 Turing Award winners. The other 2 signed the statement, so he's outnumbered by people in his same class. So I would view him not as necessarily representative of many of the top scientists or even of the top labs.
What about those experts who are more concerned about bias in AI rather than the end of humanity scenarios?
I think it's important to do competent risk management to address risks that are affecting us today and risks that are potentially around the corner. So I think the risks to society from bias and cyber attacks and malicious use, if we can get ahead of those today, that will put us in a much better position to be addressing these other sorts of risks too. Just like climate change, we don't want to ignore risks that are some years in the future. We want to be proactive about them. So it doesn't make sense to exclusively prioritize the things that are harming us right now if there are some potentially huge harms down the road.
Do you think the public has little understanding of the risks, but also maybe some of the opportunities that AI presents?
I think that it's moving extremely quickly and there are a lot of unknowns. So what we're trying to do with this letter is just make it clear that this is a concern and let's get the conversation started. We need to treat it like a global priority. We need to not be racing to develop AI systems or prioritizing making AIs more powerful at the expense of safety. So we need to initiate these conversations so that we can get more clarity. A lot of AI scientists were caught completely off guard by recent developments. So a lot of people are getting reoriented, both scientists and the public.
So you say the scenario is moving very quickly. We know things like regulation happen very slowly. So how quickly do you think regulation and rules around AI can catch up?
Hopefully in time, we need to make an effort. If we don't treat this as a global priority now, then it may be too late. So that was one of the other reasons for doing the letters. If we did it when the risks were obvious to everyone and everybody knew that AIs could pose a catastrophe today, then we would be waiting until it's too late. So that's why we need to be starting now, because we're on a very fast trajectory and the AI arms race is making this move extremely quickly.